You think it's just physical, a climax, a release. But to her, it's something else entirely. See, when a man releases inside a woman, it's not just about biology. It's a moment that either builds trust or burns a bridge that may never be rebuilt. For her, it can mean surrender, vulnerability, a silent prayer whispered into the space between your breaths. Because to most women, that moment says, "He chose me," or worse, "He used me." There are men out there releasing inside women. They don't even look at the next morning, while those same women lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering if they just gave a piece of themselves to someone who never truly cared. This isn't about religion. It's about reality. Men, you've been told that being able to get in means you're winning. But the truth is you're losing something every time you enter a space you don't respect. You're losing discipline. You're losing trust. You're losing yourself. And while she's left wondering if it meant anything at all, you walk away thinking you didn't leave a mark. But you did, because every release leaves residue on her body and your soul. Let's talk about the truth, the emotional truth, the kind no one's telling you. When a man releases inside a woman, many think it ends there. A moment, a feeling, a finish. But that moment is far more powerful than you've been led to believe. It's not just a physical act. It's an emotional signature. Your body is doing something ancient. It's saying something without words. Whether you realize it or not, your release carries meaning. Not only for her, but for you. You're entering a sacred space. And in that moment of release, your body tells the truth that your mouth may not. You may be pretending you're disconnected, just hooking up. But your body is pouring out more than just fluid. It's revealing who you are, your fears, your longings, your carelessness, your respect, or your lack of it. To a woman, that moment can feel like a gift or a wound. If she feels seen, respected, emotionally safe, that release confirms the trust she's building with you. But if she feels used, rushed, objectified, that same release becomes a symbol of betrayal, and she may never look at herself the same again. Let's be real, there are women who cry after. Not because it hurt, but because it meant something to her and nothing to you. You're leaving a signature in a place that remembers her body, her mind, her heart. And this isn't about shame, it's about awareness. You see, every time you release without intention, you dull your own emotional clarity. You detach from the very thing that's supposed to center you as a man purpose. You start confusing lust for love, validation for power, and chaos for connection. But when you become conscious of what that release truly is, when you realize it's a statement about your values, your self-respect, your emotional maturity, you begin to move differently. You begin to ask, does she deserve this part of me? Am I being honest with what this means? What story am I writing with my body right now? Because a high-value man doesn't leave random fingerprints on women's souls. He moves with intention, and his release is sacred, not just pleasurable. Let's break a myth that's damaged countless relationships and left many men emotionally confused. Sex isn't the same for women as it is for men. Not always. Yes, some women can detach. Yes, some women can enjoy sex purely for pleasure. But don't be fooled into thinking that physical access means emotional emptiness. Because the truth is, most women feel. Women are emotional receptors, not just sexual participants. They absorb more than your body. They absorb your energy, your intentions, your silence, your indifference. And when you release inside her, you're not just touching her body. You're touching how she sees herself. Even if she doesn't say it, even if she acts like it's casual, even if she tells you, it's just fun. Because here's the secret, a woman's body can go where her heart hasn't caught up. But eventually the heart speaks, sometimes in tears, sometimes in anxiety, sometimes in a sudden withdrawal you don't understand. She doesn't just remember what you did. She remembers how she felt during and after. Did she feel cherished, safe, valued? Or did she feel like just another option? You might forget the moment, but she won't. Why? Because a woman's emotional memory is sharp. And when it's tied to physical intimacy, that memory becomes permanent. Here's what you need to understand as a man. When you enter her body, her subconscious is asking, is this man safe? Is this love, or is this just his loneliness disguised as desire? If you're emotionally unavailable, she'll feel it. If you're using her to escape your pain, she'll carry that burden in her silence. If you're careless, it will register in the way she starts to shrink in your presence. Men, it's not just about consent. It's about emotional alignment. When a woman gives you her body, she's often giving you access to her self-worth. And when you misuse it, you're not just hurting her. You're conditioning yourself to believe that real connection doesn't matter. But it does. Because behind every casual woman is a heart that once believed in meaning. And maybe still does. So don't just be a participant. Be present. You ever been ghosted after what you thought was just sex? You ever had a woman suddenly act cold, distant, or even angry after a night you both agreed was casual? That confusion you're feeling is the price of unspoken expectations. Because here's the truth: most women don't get hurt by what was said. They get hurt by what was never said. You see, as a man, you may tell yourself, she knew what this was. We talked about it. It was just a vibe. But people don't fall in love with words. They fall in love with what they feel. And feelings are rarely logical. So here's what happens. You connect. You share space. You kiss her like she's the only woman in the world. You hold her like she belongs to you. You look in her eyes and say things that make her body soften and her walls come down. But then you act like none of that mattered. You don't call. You start pulling away. You leave her with nothing but silence and confusion. And that's where the real damage begins. Because now she's trying to decode something that was never clear to begin with. Did I misread it? Did he ever mean it? Was I stupid to think I mattered? The problem wasn't sex. The problem was lack of emotional honesty. Many men say, I told her I'm not looking for anything serious. But what you fail to understand is your actions will always speak louder than your disclaimers. You can't act like a lover, then retreat like a stranger. You can't enter someone's body, then abandon the emotional responsibility that comes with that access. Because sex creates hope, even when words say otherwise. Hope that maybe you care. Hope that maybe this is more than physical. Hope that maybe, just maybe, she's not just a body to you. So if you're not clear, don't go deep. If you're not emotionally available, don't play emotionally intimate. And if you're not ready to show up fully, then don't enter her life halfway. Because the expectation you leave unspoken will echo in her mind long after you're gone. And that disappointment, it will speak louder than anything you ever said out loud. Let's get real. Any man can chase sex. Any man can slide into DMs, make a woman laugh, say the right things, and get her in bed. That doesn't make you powerful. That doesn't make you masculine. That makes you common. True masculinity, that's rooted in discipline. You see, society teaches you to measure your manhood by how many women you can sleep with. But a man who can't control his urges is a man who can't lead his life. Your seed is power, not just biologically, but spiritually, emotionally, and energetically. And when you release it carelessly, without connection, without consciousness, you're giving away your focus, your ambition, your edge. Women feel it. They can sense when a man is ruled by his desire instead of his direction. She may be flattered at first, but eventually she'll see the truth that you're not in control, that you chase validation, not vision, that you'll settle for anything that makes you feel wanted, even if it costs you your purpose. A high-value man doesn't give his body to anyone who's simply willing. He waits for a woman who is worthy, not because he's better, but because he knows what he carries. He knows the weight of what he's giving. Discipline isn't about repression. It's about intention. It's about asking yourself, does this moment serve who I'm becoming? Will this choice feed my soul or just my ego? Because here's what they don't tell you: the more you give yourself to meaningless sex, the more numb you become. Not just to women, but to your own emotions, to your own needs, to your own power. But when you practice restraint, when you treat your release as sacred, everything about you changes. Your presence deepens. Your energy sharpens. Your standards rise. And suddenly you're not chasing women. You're attracting women who respect the man you've become. So no, masculinity isn't about conquering her body. It's about mastering your own. Because the man who can say no when it's easy to say yes, That's the man every woman remembers. And every boy secretly envies. After the moment fades, after the sheets are cold and the lights are off, she still remembers. She remembers how you touched her, how you looked at her or didn't, what you said before, and what you didn't say after. Because your release becomes her reminder. You might walk away thinking it was just sex. She knew what this was. But that moment leaves a mark, especially when you release inside her. It's not just physical, it's symbolic. For you, it might have been release. For her, it might feel like rejection or recognition. It all depends on what you carried into that moment. If you brought presence, warmth, care, then that release becomes a soft memory, a reminder that she mattered to you, even if only for a night. But if you brought selfishness, emotional absence, or casual disregard, that release becomes a wound. A woman may never say it out loud. She may act unbothered. She may post the stories, wear the dress, live her life. But deep down, she remembers how you made her feel when you were closest to her, and that feeling lingers. Because when you enter her, you're writing a message inside a space that holds memory, and what you release in her, she carries. Physically, emotionally, and psychologically. You may forget, she will not. So the next time you reach for a moment of pleasure, ask yourself, what am I about to leave behind? Because she's not just remembering your body. She's remembering how your body made her feel. And when you're gone, when you don't call back, when your energy disappears, she questions everything, not just you, but herself. Was I worth more than just the moment? Did he ever see me or just my body? You don't need to promise forever, but you do owe her presence, clarity, and respect. Because your release may be a second for you, but for her, it's a memory she may carry for months, even years. Choose what kind of memory you leave behind, because your release is not just the end. It's what she remembers about you. You think when you're done, it's over. You think when you release, that's it. You leave, she deals, and life moves on. But life doesn't work that way. What you give, you carry. Whether you see it or not, your choices follow you. Your energy follows you. Your patterns follow you.